Swamp Things, a podcast revisiting legendary runs. Time no longer had meaning for the renegade. He had come seeking answers and the resolution of conflict, but he was caught now. Mesmerized by the wave patterns lapping across his aura, each more seductively hypnotic than the last. Behold, the Parliament said, each wave brings a kernel of truth to share with the mind. Fertility, industry, alienation, realization. The renegade felt the name for his own essential truth slip out on the tides of his aura. Duality, he said, but he did not understand. Nothing mattered but the net that he and the others had cast out upon the waves. The net was a meshwork woven from similar experience, interlaced with coincidence and tied with the common bond of immolation. The waves were part of an ocean of electromagnetism in which all life forms swam, as dependent, yet oblivious, as fish must be to the waters that surround them. It is no simple trophy that these anglers have pulled from the sea, but a human soul, one that should be well on its way to supernal judgment. The final moments of earthly existence still cling to this soul, just as the taste of brine remains in the flesh of the fish. But as these fishers of men inspected their catch, they were quick to see the poison it had fed upon and the ugly festering tumors sprouting across its emotional underbelly. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Swamp Things, a podcast where we'll be retracing classic Swamp Thing runs from beginning to end. In this, our third season, we are retracing Rick Veitch's run following Alan Moore from 1987 until 2026. Don't worry, you're not going to have to read the equivalent of 30 years or 360 issues. Our listeners won't have to wait 30 years to reach the end of this series. I'm Robert Reineke. I read these books during their initial run, and I'll be reading these books as they're published in 2026. And that brings me to our guest, Rob Veatch. Rob is co-hosting through the opening stretch of Rick Veitch's run. To the best of my knowledge, Rob hasn't read these issues before, so welcome back, Rob.
Hey, thanks, Robert. And yeah, that's correct. I'm going through all of these for the first time.
Well, I'm hoping that you're finding them interesting reads.
Yeah, it's been good stuff so far.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a good reason to dig into Uncle Rick's work.
And, I should point out that, all of Rick's issues are now up on DC Universe Infinite for free. For free being the key word. They're always up there before, but now you don't have to subscribe, so.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So, public service announcement.
Yeah.
So, if somebody says you should follow along, you can follow along for free. Yeah. Anyhow, the opening reading is from Swamp Thing number 69, was read by myself. I have some readers lined up for upcoming issues, but if any of our listeners would like to do readings, please send me an email. Be happy to oblige if I can fit you in. And before we get started, a little background on what came before and where we are in the story. Swamp Thing, in order to find the next generation of Swamp Thing for the elemental sprout to find a home in, has engaged the Parliament of Trees in a debate. And he and 4 other predecessor Earth Elementals have started the process. Only problem is that their intended Swamp Thing is a crazy conspiracy theorist that was tricked into a suicide bombing run. And the Parliament had been conspiring against Alec Holland's Swamp Thing. Things are going better with Abby, though, as she is meeting with her friends Chester and Liz and forward checks from the government intended for Matt Cable, who's still in a coma, to fund the environmental group that Chester and Liz are running. In addition, John Constantine has buggered off to Britain in order to get John Constantine Hellblazer off and running. So that's where we're at. Any thing you need to add there?
No, I think you gave us a good summary there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
lots of balls are in the air.
yeah, we do kind of pick right up out of the last issue in this one.
Hmm. Yeah, that brings us to Swamp Thing number 69, entitled Wild Thing, with a cover date of February 1988. The Grand Comics database lists a publication date of October 27th, 1987, so it's just in time for Halloween. There's a suggested for mature reader sticker on the cover, and the price is $1.25. Rick Veitch and Tom Yates did the cover. The cover features a new, steaming, freshly born Swamp Thing crawling out of a swamp with a ghostly version of the Swamp Thing we'll all be familiar with striding forward in the background. Also, there's a variation on the logo with Swamp Thing being spelled vertical, a variation on the Watchmen covers. Oh yeah, and I should probably
Yeah.
mention that there's a full moon in the background. So, thoughts on the cover?
Yeah, really cool, just nice striking Swamp Thing image. This, although I think the it's repurposed for this collection cover I'm reading with using the original image but kind of newly painted over.
Mm,
Um, yeah, nice cover, both versions. Uh,
yeah,
it's interesting with the two Swamp Things that you see, presumably the new one kind of there looking pained, looking like it's struggling its way out of the bog there, and then Swamp Thing, the our hero Swamp Thing seems
yeah,
to be kind of like coming after it.
yes. If that's even Swamp Thing, it's not kind of a ghostly representation of him.
Yeah.
I do kind of like that, the eyes of our new Swamp Thing, the Wild Thing are, have different sized pupils.
Uh-huh.
Very crazy already.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I like the cover too.
Yeah.
Um, it provides more information than I think it does when reading looking at it in retrospect.
Hmm.
But it's representative of the story to an extent. I mean, the main conflict is not between the two Swamp Things, but
Right.
it's in there. This is part of the issue. There's no bait
Yeah.
and switch going on here. You're not going, well, this cover is great and it's drawn by, say, Brian Bolland, but it has nothing to do with the interior.
Yeah.
This represents the contents. Back when, well, I guess they were still said, the cover should represent what's in there to kind of lure in the reader.
Hmm.
Not the cover should be vaguely representative of the book in general.
Right.
I feel there's a lot of Batman books, probably in the late 90s are the latter.
Yeah.
That seems kind of come and go in phases now. Interior contents or just kind of representative, but it's a striking cover. I think the variant cover images kind of is part of that trend too.
Right, right. That's what I notice with a lot of current comics, a lot of current, specifically like
Yeah.
DC and Marvel, is that you'll have like the main cover will be pretty reflective of what's going on in the issue, and then the variants can be like whatever.
Oh, Jim Lee drew this variant. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that I think that's exactly true. I mean, you even have the same cover artist that does the interior art.
Hmm.
Even by 1987, that was becoming rare. I
Yeah.
mean, Brian Bowles kind of made a career of being just a cover artist.
Yeah, there are a lot of artists who like that's their main jam.
Yeah, I think Alec Ross now too,
Hmm.
and it- there's a few more. I feel like Sienkiewicz is mostly just a cover artist now, but
Yeah.
he has a lot of interiors under his belt.
Yeah.
Frank Miller's kind of just a cover artist now.
Right. Yeah, that's okay with me at this point.
No, I think it's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah,
This is not the Frank Miller's Lost It podcast.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
So, uh, let's get inside then. I'll give the credits here, and then we can roll along. The script is by Rick Veitch, and the pencils are by Rick Veitch. So the inks are by Alfredo Alcala. It's edited by Karen Berger. The colors are by Tatiana Wood, and the letters are by John Costanza. Uh, I probably should say I know Rick Veitch is going to get into the Eisner Hall of Fame this year. I think it's been announced. So
Yeah,
Eisner Hall of Famer Rick Veitch.
yeah. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta imagine Karen Berger's there going to be there.
Hmm.
Um, they could justify Alcala and Tatiana Wood and Costanza too, although, Iker's colorists and letters sometimes get the short shrift from getting the full credit.
Right.
But,
Yeah. It's just harder to harder to latch onto their work, I
yeah.
guess, from a fan perspective.
And, I
Yeah.
feel like, Rick Veitch is in the Hall of Fame, and I think principally because his work on Swamp Thing is probably the
Hmm.
main thing. Um, you know, Karen Berger will get in partly because of Swamp Thing, but mostly because of Vertigo.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But anyhow, yeah, a good credits list. Maybe they aren't the superstars that you say Frank Miller and Alan Moore were at this time, but
Right.
not a credit list to turn your nose up at.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's get into the interior here. I mean, we have a little bit of a recap, but the story is moving along here. If you listen to Read One, it basically describes the narration for the first couple pages, but Swamp Thing. Well, while they attempt to bond the Sprout to crazy new Wild Thing, the members of the Parliament also attempt to root Al Cow and Swamp Thing in place as part of the Parliament. So, um, you know, it's somewhat straightforward, and then it gets kind of metaphysical when you see them kind of like grabbing onto the soul of Alan Bolland in some kind of energy tractor beam net or whatever.
Okay. I say, yeah, that wasn't totally clear to me. So, like the blue kind of it just like outlined
Yeah,
semi-transparent figure.
that's
You think that's Bolland?
the soul of Alan Bolland. Yes.
Okay.
So they're getting very Rick Veitch is getting very metaphysical in a hurry.
Yeah.
I mean, Alan Moore could do it uh, too, but Rick Veitch just kind of saying, "Hold my beer here,"
Yeah.
and maybe because he was doing the art, and he said, "I can draw whatever I want." So we're gonna go crazy uh, metaphysical. I feel like I've seen Rick Veitch do this basic idea again, kind of the energy being in some of his
Mhm.
other works. But I feel like this is like one of the things that it's the first time I really remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Uh, and then then I guess it kind of continues on, and there's you got the various members of the parliament, Alec Holland, Swamp Thing, and the Sprout, and you kind of see the Sprout kind of rising up to meld with the Alan Vollin's soul there. I think you can make it up, and they use kind of these long vertical panels in between these kind of like three panels vertically
Yeah.
to tell it. So I think that's an interesting layout. It's a two page spread basically.
Uh-huh.
So you can see what's going on there, and you know what? I'm looking at it. It looks like we see. I was first interpreting it as above the earth, but now he looks like he's within the earth. You can see the soles of the feet of the
Yeah.
elementals around there.
Yeah.
So it looks like the sprout is actually going downwards, and we're looking up at the Parliament there. It's an interesting layout. And then
Yeah,
uh,
very.
and then we get to kind of see the birth of the new wild thing in a two-page spread here, and yeah, I think Rick Veitch is definitely going all out here, and he's going. I like underground comics. I
Huh?
can be wild and crazy too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I do like that it's kind of fetus-like at the center there,
Right.
and they kind of circles around it, but it. I think the page is well laid out.
Yeah, that's a really cool layout on
Yeah.
that second double page spread.
Hmm.
Is that the second? Yes. No,
Yeah,
that's
I
more.
guess
That's
it.
like the third consecutive double page spread there.
Yeah, it is the third consecutive double page spread, and that kind of continues from the previous issue.
Yeah.
We were using the double page spreads with the Parliament stuff.
Next page too. Yeah.
Next page too. So he's using the full layout there for these pages. So yeah, it looks very nice here too.
Yeah.
Well, we get to the title page with the credits, and of course, I like Swamp Thing on the side of a semi truck that's underwater here.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I like that. He
he
hops in like he's gonna drive it away.
he gonna
And
drive
it's
it
just
away. I like they put that created by Weeded Rights in 1973 on a Barry drum. Or
yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah, I like that. I noticed that too.
And I like that uh, the new Wild Thing is all kind of speaking in or thinking in commercial taglines and jingles. Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
obvious sign of mental health.
Right.
Admittedly, I don't know if anybody in 2026 will necessarily know that these are be familiar with these exact jingles and taglines, but
Yeah.
they are true to the time.
Yeah. Some of it could be a little lost. Uh, do you know the name Ezra is on the front of this truck or
Yes, it is.
bus or whatever? Um,
Is
you
that
familiar with
Ezra?
that? Oh,
Yeah,
it is a
I have
semi
a
truck. Okay.
yeah, but E2RA. Do I see that too?
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think it's actually a Z. I think it's a two.
Okay.
But no, I don't know. But I'm trying to remember. I know Rick Veitch has a son, I believe. I wonder if his name is Ezra.
Huh.
Maybe that's something I should just look up here.
Could do that. Yeah, I'll go back and talk. I thought it's interesting on the the pages with like the Parliament and the sprite kind of joining towards Ballin's form. It's you've got these big word balloons just kind of describing like the pain and agony that Ballin's body seems to be going through as
Yeah,
it breaks down into death. But like the image of the sprite is he just kind of looks like beaming with joy. I thought it's like an interesting contrast that they're giving us there. Yeah, it
yeah.
seems to paint the sprite
Well, I
as
know
kind of an
Ezra Veitch is
innocent
a
newborn.
from what I can tell, Ezra Veitch is a cartoonist from Vermont, so he's got to be related to Rick.
Huh. Yeah. Interesting.
I believe Rick Veitch's brother was also uh, a comic artist and writer. So, but
Huh.
let me just try it. Let's pull up Rick Veitch's Wikipedia here.
Hmm.
Let's see. His sons Ezra and Kirby Veitch.
Hey, there
Of
you
course, he
go.
has a son named Kirby.
Yeah. That's great.
So,
Well, all right.
so
Well, yeah.
good for
There's
you, Rick.
that. Yeah, another thing I noticed on the page, the next double page with that like circular central image of the kind of fetal
Yeah,
wild thing growing. As you see the hands like rising out of the mud, we have Ballin's corpse there in the
yep, in the
background.
background with that driving wheel around his
Right.
shoulders.
Yeah. Which I kind of initially I was thinking like, oh, like he would transform into the Swamp Thing, but I guess they also at a point in this series go back and find like Alec's corpse in the bottom of the swamp.
Yeah, they have. There's I think it's like 26, issue
Okay.
26, where you see the burial where Bissett draws Swamp Thing holding the skeleton of Alec Holland.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean it basically absorbed him. I guess you're a plant you can absorb in the general vicinity
Hmm.
through your roots and that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean you can tell the corpse is like on the bottom of that pond there.
Yeah.
So the nutrients and the information is getting to the new wild thing.
Hmm. Yeah. Just yeah.
But
Just a leftover husk
we
there.
just get started with him, and we'll get back to him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I should say I'm sure. I know we'll get back to him.
Yeah.
But before that, we have to check in on Abby and Chester. Chester's helping Abby return to the swamp with a full boat of survival gear and a boombox playing some Grateful Dead. Trucking.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't sure what song it is, but I do know that there is a song called Truckin', and that is the first word we hear come out of that boombox there.
Hmm.
So,
There's another song there. I'm not sure if it's still part of Trucking or if it's uh, that's at the end of the scene, but it's there, and I like that. We get to see Abby and Chester together.
mhm.
We see it was Abby and Liz uh, last issue, except for just a little bit at the very end when the three of them were together. But just a different combination here of Abby and Chester, and they're not repeating themselves here.
Yeah.
Um, so it's nice to see that. It's nice to see um, Abby and Chester get together. It's nice to see the contrast between the two, and Chester means well, but what's Abby going to do with all that survival gear?
Right, right. He's looking at things from a very, the civilized human perspective. Like you need all this stuff to survive out in the wild here, but you know, he just hasn't experienced life with the swamp thing.
you know,
Yeah.
Chester for all his environmental uh, intentions, he's a city guy.
Yeah.
He'd be quite helpless out in the swamp. Abby's kind of adjusted. She might need to go in to get a shower every now and then, but she can handle herself.
Yeah.
Although of course, it's a character for Chester to notice the mushroom.
Right, right, right. I was thinking about that and kind of wondering, like, oh, I wonder if that's a little like plot seed that Veatch is going to pick up later.
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
he has gone foraging for tumors and such,
yeah,
but yeah, I'm sure this is not the first time that Chester's gone picking mushrooms.
yeah. Just the first one he's find a giant, possibly Swamp Thing influenced mushroom
Yes.
out there.
Which, kind of give it a clue that things are a little out of whack environmentally out in the swamp.
Hmm.
Nature's a little out of
Yeah.
balance, but and I like that, Abby is kind of asking how are things going with uh Liz and him.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this bit. Good
Yeah,
good good
it's
character stuff.
a good character stuff, nice little subplot.
Hmm.
Something else to write about when you don't have to devote 24 pages to just Alec Holland and whatever he's up to. Things
Yeah.
don't always have to be plot.
Yeah.
Things don't always have to revolve around the main character.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, and I would actually say this seems to revolve more around Swamp Thing than the last few issues.
Yeah,
In
I would
fact,
agree.
I kind of looked back through, and this is the first issue in this run we've been reading so far that actually opens on Swamp Thing.
Mm,
Yeah, every other one prior to this, I mean, at least like the last 4 or 5 issues that we've done, have
yeah,
opened on a scene with someone else before checking in with Swamp Thing. But this
yeah.
picked right
There've been
up
a
with
lot
him in
of
the
Abby and Chester, and we had
yeah,
Woodrue in Arkham, and then we had Constantine in the video store.
yeah,
Constantine isn't even around, so it's
right.
it is a part. It is relying on Alec Holland to carry the load,
Hmm.
which considering all the stuff that Chester bought, they really need him to carry the load here.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, I think it's very nice of Chester to not take all the money. It kind of is
Hmm.
his good karma. I can't take all this money from you. I got to give you something out of this.
Right. Yeah.
So he went overboard, I think. I think Abby even agrees, but
Oh yeah,
but it's a nice scene
definitely.
between the two of them, and he has a boat now, so he can visit more often.
Hmm.
So maybe we can expect him to be a more regular character.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it won't just be Alec and Abby out in the swamp all by themselves. And that's
Hmm.
probably, just from a writing perspective, that probably makes things a little easier.
Yeah.
Uh, so, I mean, I think that's good. I know, you know, Chester heads off with his Grateful Dead boombox playing. So I gotta imagine from the looks of that that's a cassette boombox,
Oh yeah.
not a CD boombox.
Oh, for sure. I don't know if those existed yet. CD, I mean, I
They
know
existed.
CDs did.
They
CD boom
existed.
boxes?
They existed, but they were expensive.
Okay.
I mean, the fact that it has a cassette on it is probably what was somewhat of a luxury in the day, but that was pretty standard.
Yeah.
You would go through a few batteries with that thing,
Oh yeah.
unless you just had the radio on.
Huh.
But yeah, it's nice, and then we kind of, see Abby trudging off. Um, it's the three. It's not quite a 9 panel grid, but it's still that 3 tier layers and square. It's not
Yeah.
like it's pretty normal. In fact, these whole three ones are pretty normal compared
Hmm.
to how the 2 page spreads they opened up.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded that the criticism I heard in Annihilation of people going into the Shimmer, that movie, without
Oh,
wearing PPE and all that stuff. And I said, "Have you ever worn PPE? It's hot, it's heavy, and if you're going into like a jungle in Florida in the middle of summer, you're not going to get like 100 yards before you collapse."
yeah, yeah,
You know, Abby gets sick of that pretty early too, and she's just wearing a backpack and getting some soakers on her feet. And he says, "The heck with that."
right.
And he kind of returns to the swamp, naked after her sojourn in the man's world.
Yep, just gets rid of everything. Don't need it.
So those are it. And then we get back to the wild thing, who's found his way to the freeway, and
Yeah.
still quoting from commercials,
Uh-huh.
and causing a large scale traffic pileup on the freeway.
Right.
It's kind of both scary and satirical, and I kind of feel like that's Rick Veitch's run in a nutshell here.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh, these are not your normal panel layouts either, and we finally get our real first good look at the wild thing here and his
Uh-huh.
face here, and yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. It that close up on his face makes me think of the Tar Man zombie from Return of the Living
Oh
Dead.
yeah, I see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There also seems like a little bit of Mars attacks mixed in there to me.
Oh yeah, for sure. With the buggy eyes, and the green coloring
Yeah, the
sells
big
that. Yeah.
forehead, yeah.
Yeah.
But both of them
It's
together,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Rick Veitch was familiar with Mars
Yeah.
attacks. Or at least he strikes me as someone that would be.
Probably. Yeah.
And then we get back to Swamp Thing in the Parliament.
Oh yeah.
And things are moving along, and I think this is time for our second reading here. The mind of the renegade was hopelessly snarled. What had once been a linear and orderly progression of thought processes, inherited from Alec Holland, had become a free-for-all collision of information bits. Useless human information. The renegade was only interested in what he felt coursing through the awakened clay, the immaculate and faultless throb of the planet itself. And the voices. Voices which rose from a valley carved out of the very bottom of the green dimension. His valley. Voices which spoke of an end to the struggle and confusion that marked his life on the physical plane, and his consummate reward. There was no confusion now. In fact, everything was perfect. The renegade was home. And why shouldn't he take his rightful place among his forebears and share in their wealth of experience? They all had such wonderful stories. Why shouldn't he just close his eyes and listen? And I feel like the second reading it kind of explains what's going on and how the trap is kind of being laid for him by the Parliament. And we get to see him actually root again himself. I note that that man thing makes an appearance here on the lower right of the
Ooh.
page 14.
Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah. I don't think I didn't notice him. He's kind of tucked in the spine there, but yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's there.
Bulldogs.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
don't recognize anyone else, but I feel that these are nice variations here. I feel like I don't know, the one next to bad thing kind of looks like he's a variation of Killer Moth, but obviously not. But
Yeah.
you kind of have a fish-looking swamp thing, which probably makes sense, and maybe a creature from the Black Lagoon looking swamp thing over in the lower left.
Hmm.
So very maybe some sort of evolutionist type at Rick Veitch is showing there. And then we see uh, Swamp Thing kind of becoming happy and one with the Parliament there, kind of getting
Right.
sucked in, hypnotized, seduced, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like about ready to settle in there.
Yes, and Rick does not do the 2-page spread here, which is a little surprising, but it
Hmm.
kind of works as a 2-page spread anyhow.
Yeah,
But it's not
it
quite. But
does a
then
little
he
bit.
flips back to Abby arriving at their home, um, and that she can sense that he's not there, but she misses him.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like that's a nice juxtaposition too.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
really like the color offset they use for these two scenes.
yeah,
With like everything green with Swamp Thing in the Parliament, and then Abby's scene is all shades of blue here.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that it kind of transitions from Swamp Thing's feet to Abby's feet, back to Swamp Thing's feet too.
Yeah.
That's that's an unusual choice, but I think it's a choice that works.
Right, because they've done this focus on him getting like rooted into the Parliament.
Yep.
So yeah.
And Abby's not rooted in, but you can tell that she's part of where she is there.
Hmm.
But they go back from her free feet to Swamp Thing's rooted feet, and the realization of what's going on in his face. And I think you don't really need the narration panels to tell what's going on. He's becoming aware of what's coming on there.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's good visual storytelling on Rick Veitch's part. And I feel if you can't draw expressive eyes, you can't really draw Swamp Thing. And I feel like
Yeah.
you see his eyes kind of widen in realization, look angry.
Hmm.
Yeah, good visual storytelling by Rick Veitch.
Yeah.
And then we get back to a 2-page spread.
Right.
And
Yeah, another really cool layout here.
yeah, this is going to be part of our third reading for this issue, which will be basically the climax of this issue. And quite suddenly, the renegade recalled why his life had meaning. With a Herculean effort of will, he marshaled his fractured consciousness. Not Holland's human intellect or the precipitant notions of the mind, but his own wisdom, hard fought and hard won. His own identity. They had used the mother to bind him. The oscillations and vibrations of the earth herself, skillfully orchestrated to harmonize with his most primal longings. They did so in ignorance. For the renegade had reached out and embraced other maternal spheres. Other greens where vegetation had attained a sentience unknown on Earth. Other blues in the lonely monotony of mental onanism. Other reds dried up and ancient, hiding beneath the great desert of Ron. And the hypodermic kiss of a metallic matriarch. He reached out again, up and out, to the barren maiden ant forever in a shadowed lockstep with her verdant sister, to the gray. The lunar pulse of the gray is bleak and empty, as it winds down the length of his spirit like a spiccato note pulled the length of a violin string, resonating from the top of his head to the tips of his roots and directly into the awakened clay. They danced for him, then, these others who had tried to ensnare him. Like burning puppets, they jigged and hula to his magnetic tarantella, dissolving in the flash of an alien fire, hot enough to incinerate any earthly vehicles, wild enough to jolt the mind. Swamp Thing remembers who he is. And he remembers his space odyssey and taps into the moon powers and vibrations, and just wrecks the Parliament's trap.
Right. Yeah, it's like he's ready to settle in, and then he kind of takes stock of his life as Swamp Thing, and he's like, no, you know what? I'm kind of special. I've done things that
Yeah.
no human has done. None of these Parliament members have done as well.
Mhm.
I'm not ready to settle in there.
Not ready to settle in, almost as a response to Abby's missing him in her silent prayer.
Yeah.
And I don't say this often, but Rick Veitch draws a heck of a good drawing of the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, he went to town on that. Lots of detail.
Lots of
It's like,
detail. It looks like the moon.
yeah.
The general shapes look correct as far as I can tell. I don't know. Maybe he had a map for reference. They do have
Uh-huh.
those, so maybe he did that. But I feel
Yeah.
like it looks like the moon. I look at him and
Yeah.
go, yeah, that's the moon. And I like, he tapping the energy of the moon and flowing down his feet into the roots, so it's kind of hoisting them on their own petard.
Yeah.
And the next page basically shows that uh, the Parliament is getting wrecked. Um, and I know Rick Veitch uses kind of the metaphor of a dance, and now Swapton's calling the tune. And I think
Right.
that's he's not Alan Moore, but I think he has his moments.
Uh-huh.
But I think
Yeah.
mixed in with the art, I think the art I think is really the stronger of the two. And oh, hey, there's Bad Thing again.
Yeah.
And
There he is.
we also see the Sprout being yanked back, and Swamp Thing kind of busted free, or at least his head is busted free.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So that part's kind of interesting to me. I mean, when we get to the next page, because yeah, he calls out specifically. Yeah, you see the sprite. Yeah, as you say, it does kind of look like it's being pulled back. And then in the dialogue here it says, feeling the disappointment of the new seed as it is sucked screaming from yet another incarnation. But the
We're
wild thing
not
is
not
still
not done with it.
right. He's still ambulatory and sentient, all that. Yeah.
All that. And yeah, well, that he gets to encounter Roy Raven and Lipchitz, who
Yeah.
encountered the wild thing, and invite him to meet Morgan Edge because they are looking for Swamp Thing for their television comeback.
Right.
And the wild thing accepts and takes the wheel. That's a bad choice.
Yeah. Yeah, just let him.
We don't really see the payoff here, but we will see it. Although we do kind of see the carnage uh, involved in the back window as we watch the wild thing drive off. Trucks are screeching
Right.
and crashing. He must have got from Roy Raymond must have got from Louisiana to Metropolis in kind of record time here too.
Yeah.
Although we don't really know where Metropolis is. Although I always picture it as East Coast.
Yeah. Definitely coastal. Feel like a lot farther north than Louisiana.
Yes.
But yeah.
I feel like that we do get snow in Metropolis for the Christmas issue.
Mm, sure. Yeah.
I was doing some research here. Roy Raymond was the primary backup in Detective Comics from issue number 153, which was covered dated November 1948, until issue
Oh,
292, which is cover dated June 1961. So over a decade,
okay.
about 140 issues.
Wow.
That's got to be one of the longest running backup strips in DC's history.
Yeah. Man, I had no idea. That's yeah, that's a quite a run.
That is quite a run. I mean, I've read like one story that's been reprinted, but it's like there must have been, you know, 140 times like 8 pages probably. So
Hmm.
there must be like 1,000 pages of Roy Raymond stories out there.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I kind of feel it's continuing from the last issue where best laid plans don't work out.
Uh-huh.
You know, like he Roy Raymond finds Swamp Thing or what he thinks is Swamp Thing, but it's not Swamp Thing. And to
Right.
top it off, Morgan Edge has left. I mean, I feel like somebody attempting to suicide bomb your building is a good sign that you should take a vacation.
Yeah, probably. Great. That's the perfect time to hop in that private helicopter.
Yeah, Costa Rica sounds good this time of year,
Yeah.
or wherever he goes.
Yeah.
And and top it off by putting the wild thing behind the wheel. I
Yeah.
think it's this is a bunch of whoops here.
Yeah. I like this panel with Lipschitz approaching the wild thing, and as he turns to him, and they Veach has illustrated this little just kind of pink mist of like stench coming out of
Yes.
his mouth as he turns to speak to him, and Lipschitz is like getting sick from it.
As one does.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if this is going anywhere except for I'm confident this will be a source of satirical fun for Rick Veitch.
Yeah.
We have not seen the last of them.
Yeah, I kind of wonder though if this is like as they get in and Wild Thing takes the wheel. I'm like, I wonder if they're headed directly for a crash, and this is the last very bad choice these two made.
Well, I
We'll
feel
see.
we'll see.
Yeah, it doesn't happen right here, so probably not.
That would be one hell of a way to end the two-parter, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we do get the end here, with Swamp Thing uprooting himself, and kind of leaving the Parliament without
Yeah.
a word to the Alec Olson Swamp Thing regarding the fate of the other Earth Elementals.
Right.
Even though he does ask him what he did with them and the
Yeah.
Sprout. Um,
Yeah.
I will say, I'm not quite sure if the two panels of Swamp Thing uprooting himself quite work.
That's an interesting choice. The kind of like mirrored feet panels there.
Yes, I mean I look at it closely and understand what it's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it kind of looks like them placed so close together.
Uh-huh.
It almost looks like Swamp Thing is being crucified there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I
And with
see
the
that.
Fisher of Men, I think they talked about that earlier. I kind of wonder how early did Rick Veitch been planning that Swamp Thing Jesus Christ crossover?
Oh, wow.
Something I would not have placed together at the time, but
Yeah.
but it's a it's a I think it's kind of odd. I don't know if it quite works, but it is there, and I don't know if they quite answered the question about what duality means to Swamp Thing either. Um, I mean, what duality are we talking about? We talking about his human side and his plant side together? We talking about his uh, larger connection to the universe and other realms
Hmm.
and his connection to Earth? I don't know if it's quite answered here, but it is. It doesn't necessarily have to be. I feel like the story makes sense of what he's told. It's getting wildly metaphysical. It makes sense.
Right.
And it's okay to leave the Parliament and the reader with more questions than answers.
Right. And even like Swamp Thing himself says, like, that duality, that term comes to him, but he doesn't really know what it means,
Yes.
what it means to him.
Yeah, I mean, I usually like to say, the most human character in a Swamp Thing comic is going to be Swamp Thing.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that's a great answer, but that's the answer I go to in a pitch.
Yeah.
So, and that gets us to the last of the issue, and I think it's a nice ending panel image to go out on too, with Alec Olson Swamp Thing looking at the Alec Holland Swamp Thing with questions in his eyes.
Yeah.
Again, it's like I have the words. I don't really need the words to figure out what's going on here.
Right. The dialogue they give him is interesting though, the Alec Olson Swamp Thing, because it just sounds so like human and casual. Like
Yep.
Swamp Thing.
Uh,
It's weird to read it coming out of this like
mhm.
this tree beast just rooted to the earth there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like. So let's get our thoughts on this issue as a whole. I mean, I'm gonna say I like it. That we're still in the midst of a longer arc. We still have not reached the conclusion of it. We have to figure out what's going to happen with Sprout. But
Right.
I feel like Veatch has crafted a kind of a little succinct little 2-issue arc in here with the
Hmm.
Parliament trying to trap Swamp Thing and Swamp Thing getting away from them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still threats going on from here.
Hmm.
Like the Wild Thing, we're not done with him.
Right, right, for sure. And it kind of makes me wonder, like Alex's mindset is he thinking he's just going back to, you know, to live his life with Abby, or I mean, we now can be pretty sure he's got to run in with that wild thing coming up.
Yeah,
But but I'm not sure he even knows of its existence at this point.
yeah. Then we have the questions of the Alec Olson swap thing. What became of the Parliament, and what became of the new seed? What did
Yeah.
he do with it? So
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah, that's
we
right.
we we have the Parliament versus Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing able to pull out the victory.
Hmm.
And he's going back to Abby, and Abby roots him in his own way.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
so the next issue is Swamp Thing number 70. It's entitled "The Secret Life of Plants." Do
Hmm.
you have any thoughts on what that could mean? That seems kind of
Hmm.
vague to me.
No, it's just making me wonder if that's like an older term and if the Secret Life of Pets movie was playing off of that.
It is, yeah. There were some various books there. I know
Uh,
from like the 70s when we got all ecological friendly and that to say we take these things for granted, but they actually have a secret life, which is interesting.
yeah. Okay.
So that was that,
Cool.
and then that's the secret life of pets comes from that too.
Yeah.
I think the secret life of plants it was the new book, but I can't remember for sure.
That sounds like it would be.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
read it. I can tell you that.
Sure. Yeah. It
So
also sounds like could have been a title of like any old Swamp Thing issue.
it could have been. Yeah,
Like it just feels like it could have applied at many points.
yeah. I mean, it makes me expect something more introspective. By
Yeah.
judging by how metaphysical Rick Veitch has been, I'm not sure if that's going to be true, but
Right.
he is being kind of wild and crazy. This is not your grounded, realistic Swamp Thing.
Right.
He's not just a plant that walks around and punches things,
Yeah.
which is part of the interest. I mean, he's taking what Alan Moore laid down, and he's kind of going off in some real wild, unexpected directions.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I even wonder if is calling him a plant elemental really accurate at this point.
Hmm. Because he seems to be kind of rejecting a lot of the role of the elemental, at least.
Yeah, that's the role of the elemental, you know.
Yeah.
The role of the parliament.
Uh-huh.
The parliament, I mean, they call him the renegade sometimes in here. He definitely seems to be.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he kind of took on a new title for himself throughout this issue. He did. He
Yeah.
like, yeah, referred to himself as the renegade several times. Or at least it seems to be his own internal monologue.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was Alec Olson's monologue, but still.
Oh, okay. Oh, that would make sense, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, either way,
Yeah.
those are heavily related swap things.
Hmm.
They're practically the same.
Yeah.
Just tweaked a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. It is kind of written in third person.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be Alec himself.
But yeah, I guess he's part of the parliament, but a renegade, so it's another duality.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel it's a satisfying issue regardless.
Yeah, I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
This one seemed to move quicker for me than a lot of the others.
Yeah. Well,
I
it
think just
really
with the
had one main storyline here. I mean,
uh-huh.
the Wild Thing one is, I would say, you know, it's here and there, but it's like one page. After you get the birth of him, it's like he wrecks some cars and he runs into Roy Raymond and Lipschitz.
Yeah.
Abby says goodbye to Chester, and then, you know, arrives home.
Hmm.
The rest of this issue is Swamp Thing in the Parliament.
Yeah. Yeah, and those scenes the only time the pages get pretty thick with dialogue are like the Abby Chester two
Yeah.
pager there, and then the like Raymond and Lipschitz.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I like this issue too,
Yeah.
and you know, I I'm remembering just how good Rick Veitch was with the art on this, and you know, he's like, I can draw whatever I want, and I'm going to.
Hmm.
Not all of it works, but when
Yeah.
it does, it really does.
Yeah.
It's definitely not like a lot of other comics. I mean, I love Jim Aparo. This is not a Jim Aparo comic.
No.
No,
Very different style.
very
Yeah.
different. Much more experimental,
Hmm.
much more abstract than what it wants to be. I mean, Rick Veitch's skill in anatomy is very solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he went from the Joe Kubert school. You can see Joe Kubert in him.
Uh-huh.
But what he chooses to draw is whatever is in his imagination or dreams. It's getting on the paper,
Yeah.
and that makes it unique.
Yeah. Yeah, he's great at that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, next episode we'll be back here in March, and we'll have the story continuing on. Uh, we'll see what the next turn goes. I know we have a sprout that Swamp Thing has hidden away somewhere,
Yeah.
and we'll see what that secret is going to be. Maybe the secret life of plants is about the sprout.
Yeah.
Could be. Or whatever
Yeah, that would
happened to
make
the other parliament.
sense.
Yeah. Or maybe it's Swamp Thing. Who knows? Maybe all.
Yeah.
In the meantime, our listeners can subscribe to Swamp Things on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, or wherever else you can find podcasts. Please feel free to like or share the link wherever you see it. Also, you can follow Swamp Things on Twitter/X at Swamp Things Pod. And if you'd like, feel free to send an email to swampthingspod@gmail.com. And if you like what you hear, please leave a review or rating on iTunes or Apple Podcasts as it may be. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.
Much beauty in the swamp. If you only look.